Let's talk about altcoins and decentralized finance. This is the window of opportunity. You know, I've been in online marketing, arbitrage for 18 plus years now. And like I mentioned earlier, there have been different windows of opportunity that have arisen where substantial amounts of profits can be made while the window is open. I mentioned this earlier. One of them was back in the days when AdSense first launched, back in the day when AdWords first launched, back in the day when Facebook first came out with advertising. There was these little windows of opportunity where a person could really take advantage and make some significant income. And that is with altcoins and decentralized finance. So let's talk about that. People think Bitcoin is profitable, and they're right. It's very profitable, right? But one of the best investments in the last 10 years has been Bitcoin. But altcoins, the opportunities in altcoins is much, much greater for short and some of your longer term gains. You know, it's been an interesting thing here. A lot of people don't even know a lot of these, realize, and that's why you're watching this and why you're in the mastermind. So as I mentioned before, an altcoin is anything that is not Bitcoin. All right, so that's everything but Bitcoin. The top 10 altcoins are listed at CoinMarketCap. You can see those. You got Ethereum, Binance Coin, Dogecoin, which I would be very surprised if Dogecoin stays in the top 10, but it is actually one of the oldest cryptocurrencies. Cardano ADA, which we love, Tether, which is the stablecoin XRP, Internet ICP, and Polkadot. So a lot of these switch places, but those are the top 10. These are your top 10 tiers that are really stable, that will be around for a long time. Even Dogecoin, I think it's going to be around for a long time. And then there are over 9,000 plus and growing altcoins. And anyone can create an altcoin, but projects that have been launched, over 9,000 plus. A large majority of those are scams and worthless. However, there are thousands that are very profitable. So let's talk about what decentralized finance is. It's called DeFi. So if you see the word DeFi, that means decentralized finance. Imagine a global open alternative to every financial service you use today, accessible with little more than a smartphone and an internet connection. Decentralized finance is going to totally change the way we do banking, totally change the way we handle money. And banks are scrambling right now to try to get into this so that they don't get left behind like dinosaurs. DeFi is a massive opportunity. I'm going to put a link to more details where you can read really specifically an article over there on Coinbase. It has a great article about the beginner's guide to decentralized finance. I believe I have it right here. I can bring it over to the screen. But it's a decent article to read if you want to know a little bit more about DeFi, and you can read all the techie stuff. But the bottom line is, what you need to understand is you have this window of opportunity where you can create some pretty crazy incomes. Now listen, that's not a promise that you will. There's just the opportunity that you might. DeFi really is the wild, wild west. And we always see this when a new technology, something comes into place. I'll give you years and years ago when we got into Google AdSense, we had days, and I'm not kidding you, where we made $100,000 profit a day from Google AdSense. It was the easiest money that could be made in the world. It was like putting an ATM in your living room and just going to it and getting money out of it anytime you wanted. That's what's happening with DeFi right now. We really have the gold, but we also have the bad guys. So you have to be careful of the bad guys. And we'll talk about the bad guys throughout the training. There are a lot of great and profitable projects, coins, tokens. So if you hear me talk about projects, coins, and tokens, they all mean the same thing. And there are a lot of scams. There are a lot of those bad guys. We actually can make money off those scams, believe it or not, but we do try to avoid them if we can. We don't always know if we're putting a trade on a coin that ends up being a scam. We try not to, But occasionally we'll see one that is just so profitable, we take a chance and we still, invest and do a little trading on it. Again, buyer beware. You could lose your money on those especially. Anyone can launch a coin, launch a project. Many projects are completely anonymous. Bitcoin is anonymous. It's not always bad thing that projects are anonymous, but sometimes something you really need to be aware of. Nobody knows who started Bitcoin, like I just mentioned, right? Nobody knows who started Bitcoin. And there are several other major projects out there that nobody knows. Now, some of the major ones are companies and startups, but some of the most profitable ones out there are mysteries. And that's kind of the thing with crypto, and it's always been like that for a long, long time. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. However, there is something called a rug pull. So a rug pull is where someone starts a project or a coin, or they're purposely trying to do a scam, or maybe they're not trying to do a scam, they just don't know how to run a business. And they start a project, they start a coin, and people start trading, investing. There is what's called liquidity that is put into the trade. For example, if you look here, I can see in this project right here, there's $12.5 million of liquidity into the project. And this is the trading volume right here. This is what goes in and out as people are trading. Now, what happens with a rug pull is somebody will pull the liquidity out. Maybe they program something in their code that automatically just takes it all the coins out to a wallet that nobody knew about, or they have a lot of fake wallets and they just drain it. And you're done. Once the liquidity is gone, for example, if I was trading on this one and that went down to zero or even really lower than that, I would not be able to make a trade. I would not be able to pull my money out. That is called a rug pull. There are times when there are rug pulls and people will say, I got rugged. There was a rug pull. And it's just a fact of life. Now, we try to avoid ever participating in any of those, but the truth is they can happen. It's happened to me once. We do our best to try to avoid them, but nothing is guaranteed. And that is one of the reasons why we don't hodl a lot on these altcoins, because you never know what's going to happen, especially ones that have anonymous projects. So we like to get in, get out. We may be in for a couple days, we may be in for a couple weeks, maybe even for several months before we pull out. But it happens. We do our best to avoid them. I got rug pulled one time, my first and hopefully my last time. And I'm not even going to give you the link to this website. You could probably look it up, but they were called Moonsoon. And I fell for one of the most gullible tricks a long time ago of Moonsoon. And I lost $623. Because what a lot of these companies do is they do these pre-sales. And if you do a pre-sale, you can get in on the coin early before it gets listed on PancakeSwap. Well, I was new, I was naive, and I was on Discord, and all of a sudden I started getting these messages from Moonsoon. And all these people and all these messages were coming in. It was real exciting. It looked like it was a good project. And I was like, the wheels were kind of like, whoa, this is kind of questionable, whatever. And then right at the last minute, boom, I threw in $623. And a few minutes later, when the timer went to zero and they were supposed to list on PancakeSwap, we'll talk about PancakeSwap later, crickets, nothing. They disappeared. There was a couple of us that put a little money in it. We chatted over Twitter, and we figured that these kids, probably kids, took off with about $46,000. So it wasn't like a huge rug pull, but it was a very, very eye-opening experience for me to be a little more cautious. Don't just, because back when I first started this, I would kind of have into that FOMO mode, right? And that fear of missing out. And I didn't want to miss out. Now I take a deep breath. I think about it. I look at it. I look at the comments in the Discord or whatever. And that's how I make my decision. So hopefully you'll do the same thing before you invest or do any trades. Let's talk about altcoins. Bitcoin is the big dog, right? They're the Bitcoin, and then everyone else is the altcoin. Now, there's kind of classifications of different altcoins out there. There's real coins like Cardano, Ethereum, Binance, Dogecoin, XRP, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Uniswap, Chainlink, Stellar. These are all VeChain, EOS, Ethereum Classic, Solana. These are all Shiba Inu. Okay, so this is an example of a coin that, well, it's called a meme coin, and this one is just taken off like crazy right now. Now, I'm not telling you to go invest in it because the window has already gone by, but sometimes these one come here. I was reading an article about somebody who invested $1,000 in Shiba Inu when it first started, and that one is worth $1 million now. Now, listen to me. Do not go invest $1,000 with Shiba Inu. Do not, do not, do not. Okay? See, that's up 1,697% since yesterday. This is a meme coin. Will crash. There's nothing to it. It's just something that's only lasts for a little while. Now, is that to say that we don't participate in some of these? That's up to you. I've made some good money from some of those. But they're what we call crap coins. Now, I don't swear. So some people call them S coins. You can guess what follows after the S there, okay? They're called crap coins. They have no projects. There's no programs. There's no projects behind them. There's no real developers that are going to actually do anything. All these projects are building things. Binance is a huge company. They have the Binance Smart Chain. Ethereum has the trading, the swap. They're huge. Dogecoin, well, Dogecoin doesn't do anything. Cardano ADA is also a very large coin. They have huge projects. XRP, all these Polkadot, they all have big projects that they're doing. But these ones are just pretty much created to be meme coins. To kind of mimic Dogecoin. Doge kind of started the whole thing. So they call them crap coins. Now, crap coins, are they necessarily bad? Not really. But a lot of them can be complete rug pulls. A lot of them can be complete scams. So buyer beware. Be really careful before you invest or do any trades in any kind of crap coins. So you can profit with almost any type of coin that isn't a rug pull. And frankly, you can even profit with a rug pull if you get your money out before the rug is pulled, but you really don't want to do that. So let's talk about how a coin gets created, because some of you might be wondering how this actually happens. So when a coin gets created, there is sometimes an IDO, which is basically an initial DEX offering. Or the coin is just simply created and placed on the DEX. The DEX is the decentralized exchange. That's where you can swap for it. That's the whole thing behind swapping, okay, that we're going to get into more in detail. So either a company will do an IDO and say, we're going to be listed on the DEX, we're doing an IDO, we have this token, you can get some coins for a discount, you have to get on a whitelist, and we're going to get listed on some of these decentralized exchanges and open it up to the public, PancakeSwap, Uniswap, whatever they're going to go to. So there's a way to create a coin, and anybody can create a coin. You can Google it right now, create my own cryptocurrency coin, and you can create one in about like 10 minutes. But there's nothing behind it unless you do something with it. You could actually create one of these projects your own if you wanted to. Now, so that's how these coins get created. Now, we can profit from these IDOs, and we'll talk about these more in detail in some other lessons. However, I want to talk about and show you a couple examples of some altcoins. For example, this GMR Finance. Now, I've got a story to tell you about GMR Finance. This coin launched right when I was creating this training. And while I was creating this training, if you can look at this chart here, I was right here when I heard about this coin. And I had heard about this coin a couple weeks before, and I knew this was a real coin, a real company, and that they were doing something pretty significant. In fact, let me just bring up their site here, GMR Finance. I knew this was a real project. I believe they're based in the Philippines, but it's something to do with gaming, which is super popular. I did a lot of research on this one, and I had planned to go ahead and get started on this one. I was creating this training. So it was in the evening, and right there, I was going to jump in on this coin, and I didn't. And when I woke up in the morning, it started to climb, and I was still considering jumping in, but I had to get these slides created. And I was going to put about $2,800. Just to let you know, if I had put $2,800 in about this time, by the evening, when it had hit up to this peak, it was worth about $60,000. Crazy, right? $60,000. So I look back in time and I go, I don't worry about it because there's other ones that come up. Now these ones don't come up quite as often, but they do come up. And I just want to show you the power of altcoins. Now, here's something interesting. You have to understand what's called the tokenomics of these coins. So every coin is created with a different tokenomics, meaning how the coin actually works. There's kind of a trend right now with these tokens where they create like a quadrillion total supply, and then they burn 50% of them on launch, and then there's 5 reserved for the developer and marketing, there's 5 reserved for content creators, tournaments and giveaways and gamers, there's manual burns from reflections at certain milestones, liquidity pool locked on unencrypt, contract renounced, contract verified in BS scan, not 1 but 2 security audits passed. So they go through the tokenomics of this coin here, and you can read through these and learn about these coins. And let me tell you, scam coins can just say they do these things and they don't, but there's some key elements in here that are really attractive. This one's a winner. Now, am I saying go invest in it now? No. I didn't invest in it, but what I have been doing is waiting for these curves here. Boy, this would have been a good one, because when you see these waves here, these ins and outs, that's when you can still make pretty decent money. Not the kind of money that was like you're showing here, but here's all the buy orders that you see coming in here right now. This one is pretty significant that's coming in. So I'm not telling you to go invest in this one, because by the time you read this one, it'll probably be different. It'll probably have dipped all the way down, but use the training and tell yourself, listen, should this be one that would be in my portfolio? We generally like to find new ones, or we like to find ones that have this wave action where we have spreads of 100% in a day going in and out, or 2 days. We'll talk about that in some other trainings. But I want you to understand that the tokenomics is really important, because sometimes what that means is you put a trade in, and let's say you put a trade in for 1 BNB, which is about 600 and let's just say it's $600 today. It's actually $672. When you actually do the trade, the tokenomics, they're actually going to take 10% out of your initial trade. 10% out. So they actually have a tax. 10% comes out for every tax, for every transfer. It's kind of the new thing that a lot of these coins have been doing. So that's the tokenomics. You have to understand that, because if you were going to trade this coin and you were up like 9%, and you thought, oh, I'll cash out. Well, you're going to pay a 10% tax. You'll be down 1%. So it's important to understand the tokenomics. I just mentioned, some of the most profitable and risky coins are new coins with smaller market caps. Now, I just went over this one, kind of showed you the live chart when I took the screenshot the other day. This is this is where it was, and now you can see where it is now. It came up here and then down, peaked, and it even went up higher, and it's been stabilizing up here, which is actually a really good sign that tells you this project is a really good project. That's one that will be around for a long time, it looks like. But again, don't just go buy this coin because I'm showing it. They all have their timing. But these smaller market cap coins, these small cap coins, even though that sounds like a large number, that's a small cap, can be very, very profitable. So how do you find out about these token listings? Well, there's a couple places to go. Number one is coinmarketcap.com, which we've shown before, and this is where you can go through. You can see a lot of the coins. It's not all of the coins listed, but what happens is CoinMarketCap will list certain coins once they kind of get to a certain threshold, or once there's a demand. Another site is CoinGecko, and it's similar. Both of them are good. I tend to find that I switch back and forth between both of them. But you can do filters on here. So for example, you can go to cryptocurrencies and you can go to the gainers and losers, and you can see who has gained the most in the last 24 hours. There's one, 2,027%, 1,214% light cash. Now, some of these actually could be scams. Australian Safe Shepherd. I'm not even going to say their token name, so you can see how some of them are there. Now, this is interesting because let me tell you what happens. When you see these coins that have already pumped up like that, Well, you've probably already missed the window. You wanted to be there 24 hours ago before it hit that. And so we have ways of trying to find these as well. So we'll definitely, that's one of the benefits of being in the mastermind, is that we will, when we find these, some that will have potential, we will post them in the alerts. And again, you can go into the members area and go to the swap alerts here, and we'll post those, and we'll do our best to find some really, really good ones for you. But with that said, even some of these that are bigger, they can have kind of like that wave action. Now, I actually went in today and I did a trade on this Australian safe shepherd, and I've been up about 50% for a little bit, but then it's dropped down. I think it's probably hit it's in that wave section, so I'm trying to catch some of the profits on the waves. So it'll be interesting, and we'll get to that, how we do that, because I have my bot set up and I show you how to do that. But I want you to kind of get an idea of where you find some of these altcoins. But there are many more places to find the altcoins, and the altcoins that have the biggest pumps, the ones that really go crazy, are not listed on CoinMarketCap at the beginning or CoinGecko. We have ways of finding those, so make sure you pay attention in the mastermind forums as we keep you up to date. All right, well, what's your next step? How do you find these? How do you buy and sell and find these coins? So we're going to cover that in the next lesson. We're going to talk about your game plan. So again, throughout the lessons, we're going to talk about how to buy, sell, and find these coins. And so don't worry, we're going to cover all that. Our next lesson, we're going to talk about the game plan, and then we'll get into going ahead and finding these coins. All right, see you on the next lesson.